How's it going, lovebirds? This is Derek Brown Jr., and this is the Good Relationships Podcast, Episode 5. On today's episode, I have a very close colleague of mine, Abut.
Hey, how's it going, lovebirds? My name is Abut Udo. If you're wondering, yes, I am from Nigeria. If you weren't wondering that at all, yes, I'm still from Nigeria.
So, we're going to get right into the topic as always, and today's topic is nurturing relationships. So, I want to start off this episode by asking Abut a question, and it's simply, what experience have you had in a relationship where you had to nurture it intentionally?
Okay, so I think I've had several types of relationships where I had to nurture intentionally, because I mean, for the people that don't really know me, I'm kind of in between an introvert and an extrovert. So I guess I actually researched it. I'm not crazy. I researched it, and it's called ambivert. So there's a new term for that, and so basically, sometimes I'm very wired when I'm in when I'm in situations where I'm talking to other people, and then sometimes I'm not. I like to be on my own. So really, most relationships, I've actually had to like intentionally nurture them. If not, they would definitely fade away. Because sometimes I get into my introverted mode where I'm like, all right, just fuck everybody. I'm chilling. I don't really feel like doing anything at all. And I just want to be in my state and work on my businesses and work on the stuff that I got going on. So, and then whenever I come out of that state, I'm like, damn, no one loves me. I haven't received a text message in a long time. So really, it's about that balance, right? But for me, I've had to nurture that several times. Actually, the relationship with, I'll say one is a relationship with my dad. So my dad is, we're pretty similar in the sense that we don't really call people very often. So whenever you have two people that love each other, but neither of them are the type that really calls, it's like, it kind of strains the relationship a little bit. So I make the intentional effort to call, and to say, hey, how are you? What's going on? Where are you at right now in your life? How can I help? And not even just that, also just letting them know that, you care, because there's a lot of people that, even if I don't really care for people to call me that much, there's a lot of people that do care about that, and that's how they receive love, through quality time. And so I definitely intentionally try to call people and try to reach out to them and nurture the relationship, just depending on where we are in the scale of what I need to do for nurturing it.
Yeah, that's actually really good insight, because I was just thinking about a time where people reach out to me and they're like, yeah, dude, you've been away for so long, like, do you even care? Just like you brought up. Yeah. And I had to think about it. I was like, man, people, they fail to realize that everyone has their own separate life.
Right.
Like, it's
right.
As soon as you leave somebody's like presence, you're out of their like story for the moment. You're out of their
existence.
Like you only have a story with certain people whenever you're around them. As soon as you leave, they have their own like separate adventure. And sometimes it doesn't really include thinking about you all the time. So if you really want someone to think about you, or you want to, truly build that relationship, you have to actually nurture it intentionally. You have to make those phone calls. You have to send those text messages. You have to like gift give, especially if it's like a romantic relationship.
Right. Yeah. I mean, even non-romantic, like just something as simple as like, I don't know. I don't really care for gifts a lot, so it's a hard example, but I mean, just like,
quality time. You got so many different love languages. Right. It may not be gift.
That's a gift. Mm-hmm. That's a gift right on its own. To be in someone's presence is a present.
Exactly. The gift of presence.
Yeah.
That's why they call it the present.
Hey, I see what you did there.
So, if we were to basically focus on a romantic relationship,
Okay.
and I know you were telling me that you basically haven't had crazy amount of experience in like a romantic relationship for a long length of time, but you have experienced a romantic relationship where I'm assuming you've had to put some intention into it. So what kind of like things did you do to nurture that relationship with that person?
To nurture the relationship with that person, what I did was, first off, I took some time to kind of understand them. So for me, being a person that has not had a whole lot of relationships, I've been able to actually see a lot of relationships, you know. Since I'm not in it, I can witness it, and I can kind of see a lot of pit holes. It's kind of weird when you're outside of the picture, you see things way clearly. It's kind of like if two people are playing chess, right? And usually the person that's outside of the game can see what's going on way better than whoever is inside of it, because you're like participating in the game, and your emotions are, you know, are rising and falling depending on what's moving. So I think for me, what really took it to the next level was kind of reading more about relationships and how to actually nurture them. And the book that kind of, you know, switched my perspective around on relationship was The 5 Love Languages, right? And so, without going too in depth, because I mean that would take 2 days, but without going too in depth, it's all about people have different types of languages that they speak as far as love is concerned. So it's like coming to someone and speaking Chinese to them when what they know is Japanese or like a different language. It doesn't, you won't be able to connect. And love is all about having that connection. So the 5 different languages, it really depends on who you are, and I think it also depends on your upbringing too. About like what you received from your parents and the people that you believed loved you whenever you were younger. And they also change based on time. So just a few disclaimers out there. But okay, so the five that I have in my mind right now are words of affirmation, right? Words of affirmation, gift giving. That's another one. Some people get really impacted when you give them things, but it's not about just giving them anything generic. It's all about giving them things that actually matters to them. And that's the same thing as word of affirmation. It's the same thing as act of service, which is simply just helping them do something, like whatever it is that they care about, or something that you don't usually do. But because you want to show love, you're doing it, and you're going through the pain of doing it for the love. Another one is physical touch. Physical touch. That's a big one. And
just to like give a small example of why it matters from your upbringing and who you are specifically. Like my family, when I was raised, we didn't hug a lot. So I didn't. If you know anything about me, and if you've ever been in a relationship with me, you'll realize. And God, you know, he's laughing right now because he knows like I don't like to be touched that much. And yeah, I like to give gifts, but I don't like to be touched, and it could be because I wasn't hugged a lot when I was growing up.
Right.
Kind of sad, but this is
yeah. But and so imagine, right? Imagine this guy being partners or living with someone that all we did was touch people, man. In Nigeria, I lived there for 13 years, and all I did was touch people, like. Like you have guys that they're completely straight, but you have them holding hands and walking on the road and swinging their arms back and forth. Like that was a normal thing. And everyone just hugs people, like even if you know them, if you don't know them. You call anyone that's older than you auntie, uncle, it doesn't matter. You know, so everything is just way closer. And like you can go into a stranger's house. And when I say stranger, I mean maybe you came with a friend, right? And you can go in and open up their fridge and like take out something to eat. Like the culture was just very, very different. So for me, I'm a very touchy guy. Yeah, body body is definitely one of my languages. So yeah, and I forgot where was I at? So the fifth one, quality time. Quality time. So spending time with someone. This can range from just sitting down and watching Hulu, or sitting down and speaking in front of somebody, you know, one-on-one. People have different tendencies, so it's all about I think, going back to your question now, how I was able to relay that I love the person. That was the question, right?
Yep.
Okay. It was first by kind of understanding what they spoke, because I wanted to be more efficient with how I was expressing my love and letting them know. The very most recent relationship that I've had, I was fortunate that they were really close to me. So they were words of affirmation, as well as physical touch, and they're also gift giving. I sucked at that. So So what I'll do is anytime they were going through a hard time, or even not even a hard time, I would just make sure I'm around them and hold them and squeeze them and make them know that I'm right here, you know?
Yep. I'm sure you're giving a lot of people some ideas right now.
Oh yeah. No, it's so important. It's, guys, girls, it's really, really important. Like, you have to know what it is that they respond to, and you can see it from their body language and their facial expressions, and also what they say. You know, you really have to listen. So, and I would also speak positivity, you know, based on the things that they did, whether they did it good or bad. I think I have one example of one where, we were like, I don't have anything specific. No, I'm sorry, but I just know that, like, just a quick tip, right? If someone decides, if someone's doing something that kind of irritates you, right? As opposed to telling them, hey, this thing irritates me, you let them know, hey, whenever you do the opposite of this thing, I love it.
Yep.
You know, it's about being more uplifting than tearing them down. You know,
it's like positive reinforcement, right?
It's positive reinforcement, yes, and it's something that works best when the person's love language is words of affirmation, right? Yeah. And if it was act of service, if you see them doing something that's crap, go out there and show them some love, man. Show them some love. Do something that you know that they would love, whether it's take out the trash and you never do that, or fold the clothes, and that's not your thing at all, washing the dishes, writing a letter and putting it under under her coffee cup. I don't know, whatever you want to do, because you know your loved one way better. But
maybe,
yeah.
No, I'm kidding. And the only reason I say maybe is because I realize that a lot of relationships, they do kind of struggle because they don't know that their partner has that love language.
Right, and they don't pay attention.
Yeah, and then they're just doing all kinds of things and they can't figure out why their partner isn't responding the way that they want to. And basically what we're saying is, if you take the time to study your partner and figure out their love languages, then you can really get on their good side whenever you want to.
Yeah.
And that's just gonna, like, do you a favor too, because if they're studying your love language, then that's gonna make you feel good also. So I mean, I like to think of it as a game. So who can make the other person smile the most or the most happy? You know, you can't lose at that game.
No, it's like wine.
Exactly. You can't lose.
It gets better over time.
Exactly.
And you get way closer. Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. So, what would you say has been your biggest challenge when it comes to nurturing relationships?
My biggest challenge has been quality time. Quality time. So, you know, growing up, I was always with my mom, man. I was always with my mom. We were like, people used to make fun of us. Like, they used to call me her handbag. Because anytime she went anywhere, I'd be there. And then later on, when I got to 13, I moved out to the United States, and she was still back there, and I was staying with my sisters, and at this point, I was so involved in everything that I did. Like, anything that I did, I just loved it so much that I would drench myself into it. Kind of like playing basketball, right? I came over, I really sucked. And I took it as a challenge upon myself to like get a lot better at a short period of time. So I would completely drench myself into basketball. When I was into singing, I would completely sing. Like, so at every point in time, I always like loved what I was doing way more than loving who I was with. You know, so I always spent more quality time with the things that I was doing as opposed to the people that, you know, I should show some love to. So I'd say quality time was one of my most difficult ones growing up. As of today, it's a lot better than that, though. You know, because I'm more conscious and more aware of it.
I can vouch for that.
Hey,
I can vouch for that.
We just shook hands, by the way, if you're figuring out what that little thing was.
Well, what kind of advice can you give to someone who literally is clueless about love languages? They have no idea that this one tip that we just kind of explained can instantly improve their relationship, but they don't even know where to start. They may be so deep into a relationship at this point that it's just not going well, and they really want to see it work out, but they're really left with two options. They're either left with the option of maybe figuring out these love languages and investing some time into learning that and investing into their partner to improve that relationship, or completely just exiting the relationship. So what's some advice you can give to someone in that situation? I know that was a lot.
That kind of was, but it's cool. I got you though. So this is I don't really like to give advice necessarily. I just kind of like to give suggestions.
Okay.
Right? Just different routes that you can go, right? And then you pick whichever one works for you. So I think the number one thing upon everything, like even the love languages and like all of that jazz, the main thing is truly be present. You know, and when I mean be present, I'm mainly focusing on listen.
Yep.
When I say listen, I'm not just talking about listening with your ears, but listening with your eyes, your smell, and all of your senses, because it's very important for you to kind of know what the other person means whenever they are communicating with you. Because at the end of the day, it's all about, you know, taking responsibility, right? And you have to take responsibility to taking responsibility on everything that is happening as far as what they're giving off, because your partner will always tell you what the problem is, even if they don't like tell you verbally. Right. Yeah. Like for example, women are notorious for this, man.
Yeah, dude. Indirect.
Right.
Queens. I'll say queens.
My God.
Of indirect.
Yes.
Language, like.
Hey, sweetheart, what's going on? Nothing. I'm like,
you okay? You okay?
Are you good?
I'm fine.
Yes.
You know,
like, yeah.
Guys too. There's some guys who are the same.
Oh no, for sure. We don't want to be sexist here or anything like that. Yeah, guys are also notorious for this, especially whenever they themselves don't even know what they want. You know, it's like, And a lot of guys are in that situation where they don't really know what they want exactly. So it's kind of difficult for them to really explain. And a lot of guys also don't like to talk. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah. So I mean, both.
Yeah, I mean, you got
really suck.
You got guys who, you know, have to feel like they have to uphold this, like, such a manly or then, like, oh, I can't have issues, like, I can't see this person see me emotional,
I ain't no
or
bitch.
Whatever. Yeah, like, it's like, no, like, communication is key.
It's key.
You know,
it's key in terms of relationships. It's key. You know, especially if you want to be one with this person. Like, if you want to be one with this person, then y'all are like all the way together, mentally, physically, emotionally, energetically, spiritually, like in every single form, you know. So and communication is what really helps bridge that gap. So yeah, like I was saying, it's that the number one thing is to be present, right? And really pay attention. You have to pay attention to the things that you do and how they respond to it, because on some end, right, you could be doing a lot that you appreciate. You know what I'm saying? Like chocolate. I'm gonna use something super simple.
Break
right?
it down.
I'm gonna break it down real simple. So like chocolate, right? If I ask you right now, if you want to think about it, you have a favorite chocolate right now. You know, it might be Snickers, it might be Twix, it might be Reese's Pieces. I mean, whatever it is. You have a specific chocolate that you like, right? It might not even be what I just mentioned. And guess what? And now you're moving around the world like, man, you know, you're moving around your relationship like this. You're like, I'm going to not eat this Snicker bar that I love so much, right? I'm gonna starve myself of it, and then I'm gonna give it to my loved one because I'm trying to show her love. I'm trying to let her know or him know that I love them. And so I'm gonna take away the thing that I love to give this other person. But guess what? You never figured out that they were allergic to chocolate.
They can't even ingest it.
They can't even ingest it. They don't even like it, you know. And this entire time, you're stuffing them with chocolate. You're stuffing them with the bars, and it's not helping them. It's actually like tearing them apart. You know what I mean? Like it's, and that's something that's really interesting because this happens a lot. Yeah. And then guess how you're gonna feel? You're gonna feel like a piece of crap, one, and two, you're gonna feel like the other person does not love you because they're not reciprocating the love that you are giving.
Right.
But it's just about having some amount of presence to know, okay, this person does not like chocolate. That's not their thing. So I'm not going to give them chocolate even if I know I love chocolate. And chocolate is what makes the world go around for me. I'm gonna give them a Starburst instead because they like to taste the rainbow.
And most likely after they get that Starburst, they're gonna go get you some chocolate.
They're gonna get you some chocolate, or they'll get you some Starburst, and that's when you gotta communicate
that I don't like Starburst.
I don't like Starburst, and you're like, you know, you're fucking shit up by giving me Starburst because it makes me go to the toilet a little longer than I want. Or whatever your reason is, right? So at the end of the day, it's all about being present, because with you being present and listening, you would actually know that, you know, that's the case, whether they tell you or not. And then I think your other point was, you know, how do you know if it's time to head out? I think you mentioned that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, like you said, you can either take the time to figure out what their love language is and nurture it intentionally, or when is it time to exit?
Man, that's usually the hardest one because It's usually it's the toughest one for sure.
Oh yeah,
you know.
And by the way,
emotionally,
we're going to do an episode later on a whole episode on this, so you don't have to like go.
Oh, way too deep.
Yeah, you don't have to go.
All right, thank
deep
you,
sea
man.
diving. Yeah.
Thank you, man.
I know
I'm gonna stay on top of the boat and just put my finger in the water as we go.
Guys, if you know anything about Abut, you would understand that he's really breaking it down as simply as he can, but he can like take a concept and drive it so deep that you would really be. It may take a whole day for him to explain these concepts to you. So, yeah. So, very honored to have him on the show once again.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Appreciate you. So, yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I know you got some more knowledge to give.
All right, I'm gonna kick it out. Oh, okay. So the question now is when to head out. My favorite person for this, it's funny, man. It's kind of weird. It's a little left field, but it's a saying that I got from Madea.
Like the Madea's.
Yeah. The whole Madea reunion,
Oh, okay.
Madea's family,
Okay,
like
interesting.
all of that stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, Tyler Perry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
No, it's really interesting. So Madea, at some point, you know, after she was done, like, if you guys know anything about Madea, she's crazy, right? He or she, like, she goes around shooting things up and doing all these crazy things in the movies. But what she does a lot is also play counselor some of the time, because she drops some knowledge whenever she's not doing goofy and funny things. And it's actually Tyler Perry, who is a guy that's dressed up like a grandma. And so what Tyler says through the character Madea was, people are in your life as seasons, right? So some of them are there for the long haul, and some of them are there for a certain time frame. You know, because some people are there to level you up and take you to the next place, so that you can meet the person that's there for the long haul.
That's
right?
good. That's real good.
Yeah, and then some people are there to, like, a lot of people are there to teach you a lesson, and the longer you stay with that lesson, you know, the longer you stay in that class and continue failing that class.
So like punches to the face.
Right, it's punches to the face. Like the longer it would take for you to like graduate to the next point and like actually get a diploma for life. You know what I mean? So basically, it comes back down to understanding yourself, right? Taking time to know yourself and knowing what it is that you want. Because at the end of the day, the song YOLO is not just catchy, it's real. You only live once, and it's your life.
Yep.
So a lot of times we pigeonhole ourselves to imagine that this is the only person in the world for us, you know. And it doesn't even matter what age you are or what time frame in life you are, like, none of that matters. There's always someone out there that you can gravitate to at any point in time. I mean, you have 70-year-olds getting married these days.
Oh yeah.
Well, a lot of them don't even want to get married. They just want to hang out and just be together all the time, you know.
And that could be their soulmate.
And that's just, yes, exactly.
If you believe in that.
Exactly. So I think that the main thing is to make your decision from a place of love. Both love for yourself and love for the other person. So if you understand that, hey, no matter what happens, our values are completely different. We don't see things the same. Like, you're not there to change anybody, and they're not there to change you. There's some things that you can live with, but there's some things that you know you cannot live without. So it's all about figuring out what are the things that what are the things that we would never mesh on, like there is just no way. So one is pretty simple, right? You have a lot of relationships that are kind of abusive, and that's like a red flag. You know what I mean? No one deserves that, and everyone can increase their standards higher than that, and then there's another one where you're just walking separate paths in life. Maybe at some point it made sense for y'all to be together, but now your vision for how your life should be is a little bit differently. Goes a little different, and it really comes from a place of love to be able to make that decision, to say that, hey, without me, it's a lot better for you. That is like being extremely selfless and being very, very loving to the other person, and that's really challenging, especially because we all grow attached to each other at some point. So I think that the main thing is to come from a place of love and understand that if you make that decision from a place of love, the next chapter is going to be so much better and like everything that you want it to be. Because from you making it from a place of love and like letting the person go because you know that person is going to blossom more leaving, now you understand yourself better and you know exactly what you're looking for, and you'll be able to attract the type of relationship that fits best with where your mind is, where your body is, where your emotional energy and everything about you is. But yeah, nevertheless though, it's a very difficult decision.
Dude, you just gave so much sauce in there. Like, yeah, you gave so much. Like, the only thing that I can even add to that is just that including that experience that you're having with that person and deciding when it's time to exit. Like Obi said, it may not be the right person, but both of you will naturally just be okay because you're going to find that person. There's going to always be somebody else out there. So just like there was before, just like you said, oh, I'll never get over this person. I'll never get over this person.
Yeah.
Till you meet somebody else.
Right.
Yeah. Or, there's always going to be somebody that fits your new needs because you're constantly developing as a person. So your needs are changing. The guy that you had a crush on in third grade is most likely not your type now because you've developed as a person. So even as you're experiencing these relationships, it's going to be tough to exit those because you did get attached to someone, and you tell yourself, like, I could make this work. I know that I could force myself to be happy because I care about them so much, but you don't realize that happiness, it's not really something that you really have to work so hard for. And I think that's something that people fail to realize. They think that they have to put so much work into it, and they have this belief that in a relationship you have to work hard and hard and hard for this happiness concept. But it's like, man, you meet people who naturally meet someone and they're happy every day just to be around in their presence. So you'll meet someone who naturally just gives you that joy and that happiness, and they'll naturally understand who you are as an individual, and you won't have to work so hard because you'll naturally just be able to be yourself 100% of the time.
Right.
So there is somebody who will love you unconditionally for just being you. And if you're in a relationship right now that you're kind of forcing it, or you're making excuses of why you shouldn't leave, then it's probably a clear, we call it red flags. It's probably a sign, a red flag, that it may just be time to go through that exit stage. And yes, it's going to be tough. It is going to be sad. It might be one of the saddest things that you've gone through, but it's also going to be that time where you learn so much about yourself, and you're just gonna go through such a good growth stage, and you're gonna appreciate yourself so much more in the future. And you're gonna look back on those moments and say, wow, I wish that I would have done this either sooner, or I wish that I could like really take this experience and share with other people who are going through the same thing. And that's what it's really for. The experiences that we have in life, especially in relationships, they may not even just be for us, but they may just be to pass down to someone who's younger or someone else who's going through some pain, and they're going through pain, and we're trying to get them out of that pain sooner, so that we can show them the joy that we have now, that we found after going through such a long season of that pain. So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't even think I can add anything to that, but that makes perfect sense. I think that the essence of life is all about leveling up, and leveling up in our consciousness. And as we go, every single generation, the plan is to get better.
Yep.
The plan is to like increase. I don't know what you believe in, whether it's God, universe, I mean, whatever. I really don't care. But I think that like however we're here on earth, it was like, I feel like it was to find out more and to keep on increasing, and just to be limitless with how we grow in life. And everyone has something that they can give to somebody else to help them get out of their situation. And so even the hardship that you have gone through in your own relationship, that's there not by accident. That's there for you to be able to propel other people and move things forward. So I'm happy that you said that.
No, dude, it's that's everything. Do you have any last words for these lovebirds out here?
Man, my last word for you lovebirds: love. And love deeply. Thank you for having me.
No problem, brother. I appreciate you so much. Guys, thanks again for tuning in to the Good Relationships Podcast. This is Derek Brown Jr., and I look forward to seeing you for episode 6. As always, stay blessed, not stressed.